Welcome to episode number 320, where I'm talking about Ayurvedic herbs, which are beneficial for natural pain relief. I'm going to talk about the following herbs: Ashoka, Cloves, Devadaru, Fennugreek, Indian frankincense, myrrh, and turmeric. So please stay tuned. Hi there, I'm your host Colette, and on this podcast I will be sharing the teachings of Ayurveda, yoga, and holistic health practices. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend checking out the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Thanks for listening, and now here's a new episode. Hello, and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. Today it's me, Colette, for a solo episode, and today I want to talk about Ayurvedic herbs for pain relief. Pain affects us not only physically, but mentally also. And in this episode, I want to look at Ayurvedic herbs that are beneficial pain-relieving herbs. And they are Ashoka, Cloves, Devadaru, Fennugreek, Indian frankincense, myrrh, and turmeric. But first, let's take a look at pain from an Ayurvedic perspective. Ayurveda teaches us that pain is a result of an imbalance in the doshas, and in particular with a Vata dosha. Vata dosha is usually involved if there's pain in the body. And if there's inflammation in the body, then Pitta dosha usually has an involvement. And if there's stagnation, then Kapha dosha is likely aggravated. Of course, there can be one or more dosha aggravations at once. However, as Vata dosha is responsible for all movement in the body, including responsibility for the movement of Pitta and Kapha doshas, this tells us that Vata plays a role in pain. So let's take a look at some typical signs of pain symptoms for each dosha. When Vata dosha is aggravated, it can result in throbbing, radiating, and migrating pain, where the pain may move around the body. And there can also be stiffness with aggravation in Vata dosha. When Pitta dosha is aggravated, it can result in inflammation, swelling, burning, maybe painful areas which are hot to the touch, and the pain will be sharp and intense. And when Kapha dosha is aggravated, it can result in a dull, deep, and enduring pain. And there can also be swelling here also and water retention. In order to treat the pain, we need to not only pacify the aggravated dosha or doshas, but we need to look at the root of the imbalance so that we can eliminate the pain completely and make sure that it doesn't reoccur. This leads us to the digestive system. When our digestive system is not functioning optimally, it can result in undigested food, which creates ama or toxins in the body. The accumulation of toxins in the body can play a major role in pain, and therefore it's necessary to cleanse the body of this accumulation of ama or toxins, balance the doshas, and put a strategy in place so that this can be prevented from happening again. This, of course, means a holistic approach to restoring balance and harmony within the body and mind. And this is a great place to tell you about my next group, a discounted cleanse, which is starting February 2nd, 2024. And this cleanse will help eliminate any accumulation of toxins, balance the doshas, and bring harmony back to the body and mind. It comes with a 90-minute consultation so that I can get a detailed account of your current health status and tailor the cleanse recipes, the self-care, the mindfulness, the daily routines to you and your lifestyle, making sure that it doesn't overwhelm your already busy life. It's very possible to do this at-home cleanse while working, and we'll go through it as a group with a private community for support and accountability. You can check out all the details in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and go to the events page for this group cleanse starting February 2nd, 2024. Let's start with Ashoka, which means without sorrow in Sanskrit, and it bears orange, yellow flowers, and the Ashoka tree is considered sacred in Indian tradition, and it is dedicated to the love god Kama. And it is believed that Lord Buddha was born under the Ashoka tree. So let's take a look at the energetics of Ashoka. The rasa or taste, bitter and astringent. The virya or energy is cold. The vipak or post-digestive effect, pungent. The gunas or qualities, light and dry. The effect on the doshas, what is kapha, pitta, pacifying. The effect on the dhatus or tissues, what is effective for the blood tissue, rakta dhatu, the muscle tissue, mamsa dhatu, the fat tissue, meda dhatu, and the reproductive tissue, shukra dhatu. And it has affinity for the following channels: the circulatory channel, or Raktavahashrotas, and the female reproductive channel, Artavavahashrotas. Ashoka has analgesic properties, meaning that it helps to relieve pain. And as I just mentioned, it has an affinity for the female reproductive channels, with its positive health effect on the ovaries and lining of the uterus, as it's a uterine tonic and particularly beneficial for treating menstrual disorders and any pain associated with the menstrual cycle, along with abdominal pain, contractions, painful urination, and spasms. So let's take a look at the next one, which is cloves. And cloves are the dried flower buds of the evergreen tree. And I think we're all familiar with their strong flavor. So let's take a look at the energetics of cloves. The rasa or taste is pungent and bitter. The virya or energy is cold. The vipak or post-digestive effect, pungent. The guna or qualities, unctuous, light and penetrating. And it is considered tridoshic, so it has a pacifying effect on Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And the effect on the dhatus or tissues, well, it's effective for plasma tissue or rasa dhatu, the blood tissue, rakta dhatu, the muscle tissue, mamsa dhatu, the nerve tissue, majha dhatu, and the reproductive tissue, shukra dhatu. And it has an affinity for the following channels: the circulatory channel, or Raktavahashrotas, the respiratory channel, Pranavahashrotas, the digestive channel, Anavahashrotas, and the reproductive channel, Shukravahashrotas. Cloves pacify Kapha and Vata doshas with its hot and bitter qualities, and it pacifies Pitta dosha with its cold energy, which gives cloves their anti-inflammatory effect. Clove contains eugenol, which numbs the nerves, offering temporary relief, and clove oil is particularly good for toothache. Clove oil can also be used externally to help relieve pain from headaches, arthritic pain, and back pain. Moving on now to Devadaru, which means wood of the gods in Sanskrit, and it's also known as Himalayan cedar wood, growing at high altitude in the western Himalayas. So let's take a look at the energetics of Devadaru. The rasa or taste, bitter and pungent. The virya or energy is heating. The vipak or post-digestive effect is pungent. The gunas or qualities, light and unctuous. And the effect on the doshas, Vata, Kapha, pacifying. And the effect on the dhatus or tissues, well, it's effective for plasma tissue or rasa dhatu, the blood tissue or rakta dhatu, the muscle tissue or mamsa dhatu, and the fat tissue or meda dhatu. And it has an affinity for the following channels: the digestive channel or anavahashrotas, the respiratory channel, pranavahashrotas, and the circulatory channel, raktavahashrotas. The aromatic wood of the Devadaru tree is distilled down into essential oil, and it's an excellent anti-inflammatory, anti-spasmodic, meaning relieves spasms in the muscles, with its heating energy, stimulating circulation and relaxing muscle tension. The oil can be used externally for muscle spasms, arthritis, sciatica, and headaches. Devadaru will pacify pain, which has resulted from aggravated Vata. As I mentioned in my previous episode, we need to be aware of where we purchase our herbs and oils from. As in the case of Devadaru, the harvesting is controlled by the Indian Forest Department, and the oil usually comes from naturally fallen trees. And with the popularity now of Ayurveda, and there being such a market for Ayurvedic products, we really need to do a little research into the companies that we're purchasing from to ensure that we're supporting sustainable and ethical business practice. So that's really important. Okay, next, looking at fennugreek. Fennugreek, or methi, as it is called in Sanskrit, is a small leafy shrub, and it's also a popular spice with many benefits. So let's take a look at its energetics. The rasa or taste, pungent, astringent, bitter, and sweet. The virya or energy is hot. The vipak or post-digestive effect, pungent. The gunas or qualities, light and unctuous, and the effect on the doshas, Vata, Kapha, pacifying, and the effect on the dhatus or tissues, well, it's effective for plasma tissue or rasa dhatu, the blood, rakta dhatu, fat tissue, meda dhatu, bone tissue, ashti dhatu, nerve tissue, maja dhatu, and reproductive tissue, shukra dhatu. It also has an affinity for the following channels: the digestive channel, anavahashrotas, the excretory channel, parishavahashrotas, the water channel, ambuvahashrotas, the sweat channel, shvedavahashrotas, the respiratory channel, pranavahashrotas, the reproductive channel, shukravahashrotas, and the lactation channel, shtanyavahashrotas. Fennugreek is a Vata anulomana, meaning that it promotes the movement of Vata in the correct direction, which is downwards. This is very beneficial in any discomfort or pain with sluggish digestion and digestive bloating and gas from aggravated Vata and Kapha. Fennugreek has an affinity for the female reproductive system, and its unctuous and sweet energetics nourish Shukra Dhatu, the reproductive tissue. It's beneficial for menstrual cramps, pain, and lower back pain due to aggravated Vata at the start of the menstrual cycle. Fennugreek is also beneficial for swelling, sciatica, arthritis, and nerve pain or neuralgia. Fennugreek can be used in the diet, and the seeds can be soaked for a tea or in a poultice used externally to relieve arthritic swelling. So many benefits there with fennugreek. So let's move on to Indian frankincense. Indian frankincense is the sap extracted from the branches of the Boswellia serrata tree, known as shalaki in Sanskrit. The sap dries into resinous rocks, which have an intense aroma and often used in religious ceremonies for its scent and energetic qualities. So let's take a look at the energetics of Indian frankincense. The rasa or taste, bitter, pungent, astringent, and sweet. The virya or energy, well, it's both heating and cooling, which makes it very special. The vipak or post-digestive effect is pungent. The gunas or qualities, dry, light, and penetrating. And the effect on the doshas, well, it's tridoshic, however, may aggravate Pitta and Vata in excess. And the effect on the dhatus or tissues, well, it's effective for rasa dhatu, the plasma, rakta dhatu, the blood, mamsa dhatu, the muscle tissue, meda dhatu, the fat tissue, ashti dhatu, the bone tissue, maja dhatu, the nerve tissue, shukra dhatu, the reproductive tissue. And so we can see it has an effect on all 7 dhatus. It also has an affinity for the following channels: the rakta vahashrotas, the circulatory channel, the maja vahashrotas, the nervous channel, and the shukra vahashrotas, the reproductive channel. Indian frankincense has analgesic properties, meaning that it's great for relieving all types of pain, in particular in cases where there's inflammation and congestion, as it has both that heating and cooling energy, helping it to clear any blockages and reduce swelling. Indian frankincense has pain-relieving, bone-mending, and lekana, which is adhesion-clearing properties, and therefore very beneficial to heal broken bones, wounds, and bruises. With its anti-inflammatory properties, Indian frankincense is beneficial in inflammatory diseases in the gastrointestinal tract, the joints, and the lungs. For example, colitis, Crohn's disease, osteo and rheumatoid arthritis,
asthma, and bronchitis. It's also great for any pain with the menstrual cycle, especially pain associated with aggravated Kapha dosha. So conditions with congestion in the female reproductive channels like cysts, fibroids, and clots. Okay, we're going to move on now to another resin, which is also used in religious ceremonies throughout history. So we just talked about Indian frankincense, and now we're going to talk about myrrh. Myrrh is another resin which comes from a thorny desert shrub. And as I said, it has been used throughout history in religious ceremonies. So let's take a look at the energetics of myrrh. The rasa or taste, bitter, astringent, pungent, and sweet. It's got a cooling virya or energy, the vipak or post-digestive effect, pungent, and the gunas or qualities, heavy and dry. It is considered tridoshic, and it has an effect on all 7 tissues or dhatus of the body. Myrrh has an affinity for the following channels: the plasma lymph channel, rasa vahashrotas, the circulatory channel, rakta vahashrotas, the nervous channel, maja vahashrotas, the respiratory channel, prana vahashrotas, and the reproductive channel, shukra vahashrotas. Myrrh contains anti-inflammatory and analgesic pain-relieving properties, and it's known for treating arthritis, joint inflammation, and degeneration of the joints. It's beneficial for painful menstrual cycle, fibroids, and endometriosis, and all neuralgia or nerve pain around the body. Its blood circulating and antibacterial properties makes it very beneficial as an external treatment for bruises, wounds, and broken bones. And my final herb today is turmeric. And turmeric, or curcuma longa, is actually a rhizome, which belongs to the ginger family. Curcumin is the active compound of turmeric, and it's known for its anti-inflammatory, analgesic, pain-relieving, antibacterial, antispasmodic, and antioxidant properties, which makes it very beneficial for managing pain. So let's take a look at the energetics of turmeric. The rasa or taste, pungent, bitter, and astringent. The virya or energy is heating. The vipak or post-digestive effect, pungent. The gunas or qualities, dry and light. And the effect on the doshas, well, it's tridoshic, pacifying Vata and Kapha with its hot energy and pacifying Pitta with its bitter energy. However, in excess, it can increase Vata and Pitta. The effect on the dhatus or tissues, what is effective for all 7 dhatus, all 7 tissues of the body, and it has an affinity for the following channels: the digestive channel, or anavahashrotas, the circulatory channel, rakta vahashrotas, the respiratory channel, prana vahashrotas, and the female reproductive channel, artava vahashrotas. Inflammation is a common underlying factor in many pain conditions, and turmeric's ability to reduce inflammation can offer relief to individuals suffering from painful conditions like arthritis, osteo and rheumatoid arthritis, gout, back pain, sore throat, and stomach ulcers. Turmeric is a blood tonic and stimulates blood flow, which helps to prevent and dissolve gallstones. It also reduces congestion and kapha accumulations and aggravation in the female reproductive system, making it beneficial in cases of fibroids, cysts, endometriosis, painful menstrual cycles, and mastitis. Turmeric makes a great topical treatment for wounds, infections, bruises, sprains, swelling, and pain, with its astringent property helping to dry wounds and its anti-inflammatory property reducing swelling and pain. Turmeric is just one of those spices that you want in your spice cupboard, and you can add it to your dishes or have a turmeric tea, and of course, the wonderful turmeric golden milk. And I'll put a link to the recipe I have for turmeric golden milk in the show notes. So check that out if you haven't already made turmeric golden milk. So there you go. So many beneficial herbs to help you relieve pain naturally. And as I mentioned, it's really important to get to the root of the pain source so that it doesn't reoccur. And if you want support on your Ayurvedic journey, then get in touch. My services are online. I have online consultations, cleanses, educational programs, and holiday gift vouchers. And as I already mentioned, my next discounted group cleanse is starting February 2nd, 2024. It's a great way to not only relieve any pain in the body, but also to reset your body and mind after the holiday season and start 2024 taking care of your health and well-being. This could also be a great gift for yourself, or maybe hinting to somebody else that you want the gift of health this holiday season. You can check out all this information via the link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And if you have any questions before you book, you can take advantage of my free 15-minute online Services Enquiry Call. We'll hop on Zoom and I'll answer all of your questions. So I hope you found this episode beneficial. Some really great natural remedies for healing pain. And if you think that this episode will be beneficial for family or friends, please share it with them so we can spread this wonderful wisdom of Ayurveda. If you haven't already subscribed or followed the podcast, please do so. And the new weekly episodes will download for you automatically. And if you feel you're getting benefit from this podcast, I would really appreciate a rating and review. And you can do that wherever you listen to your podcast. It will help others find this very important wisdom of Ayurveda. You can find me on social media under Elements Healing and Wellbeing on Facebook and my new Instagram page, Elements of Ayurveda Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.